You won't believe what happens when Hollywood's biggest stars mix red carpets with open bars. From slurred speeches to jaw-dropping chaos, these A-listers went from award-worthy to absolutely wasted. This isn't glamour, it's glorious disaster. Buckle up. Things are about to get messy. Number 1. Anna Nicole Smith. At the 2004 American Music Awards, Anna Nicole Smith didn't just walk onto the stage, she staggered into pop culture history. The former model turned reality star appeared visibly intoxicated, struggling to form sentences and smiling through confusion as millions watched live. What should have been a routine award presentation instantly became uncomfortable, chaotic, and unforgettable. Words barely connected. Thoughts wandered. At one point, her now infamous line, "Like my body," echoed across the room, leaving the audience unsure whether to laugh, cringe, or look away. Cameras lingered. The crowd shifted. And in that moment, Hollywood's polished illusion cracked wide open. This was not a scripted joke or playful rebellion. This was real, raw, and painfully public. The aftermath was brutal. Clips went viral before viral was even a thing. Headlines mocked her. Late-night hosts feasted. But looking back, the moment hits differently. Behind the laughter was a woman struggling under fame pressure and addiction, all unfolding under studio lights. So here's the uncomfortable question. Was this fair game entertainment? Or did the world laugh while someone quietly fell apart? Number 2. Johnny Depp. At the 2014 Hollywood Film Awards, Johnny Depp walked on stage to introduce a documentary and immediately proved that something was very wrong. He squinted at the teleprompter like it had personally betrayed him, slurred through sentences, and paused long enough for the audience to wonder if the show had accidentally gone off script. This was not quirky pirate charm. This was confusion in real time. Depp struggled to finish, thoughts laughed at nothing, and at one point appeared to ask the audience for help reading his own lines. The room grew tense. Was this a joke? Was this performance art? Or was this a Hollywood icon unraveling under the spotlight? Cameras stayed locked in because nothing keeps viewers watching, like second-hand embarrassment delivered live. What made the moment sting was not just the awkwardness, but the concern that followed. Fans debated whether it was alcohol exhaustion or something deeper. Critics called it unprofessional. Supporters called it human. Depp, unfazed, later doubled down on his attitude toward fame and judgment. And that leaves us with the real question. When a star stumbles on stage, are we witnessing harmless chaos or watching someone spiral while the audience applauds? Number 3. Elizabeth Taylor. By the time Elizabeth Taylor stepped onto the Golden Globe stage in 2001, Hollywood already knew it was about to witness something unpredictable. Draped in diamonds and legacy, the screen legend was there to present Best Motion Picture Drama. Simple job. One envelope. One announcement. What followed instead was pure live television panic. Taylor opened the envelope at the wrong moment, stared into it with visible confusion, and seemed genuinely unsure of what she was supposed to do next. Nominees were read out of order. Words tangled. The room froze. Producers scrambled. And suddenly, one of the most glamorous nights in Hollywood history veered straight into chaos. This was not a playful slip. This was a legend clearly struggling to stay on script. Yet somehow, that was exactly what made it unforgettable. Elizabeth Taylor never pretended to be perfect. She leaned into the mess with unapologetic confidence, brushing it off, like only someone with nothing left to prove could. Critics called it embarrassing. Fans called it iconic. And decades later, we are still asking the same thing. When a legend loses control on stage, is it a cautionary tale or just another chapter in Hollywood mythology? Number 4, Emma Thompson. If chaos had a charming accent, it would sound a lot like Emma Thompson at the 2014 Golden Globes. When she walked on stage to present an award, she did not come armed with nerves or notes. She came holding a martini in one hand and her high heels in the other. Within seconds, she kicked the shoes off, waved them in the air, and casually announced that alcohol was already doing its job. Her speech drifted just enough to raise eyebrows, but not enough to lose the room. Words softened, timing loosened, and when she proudly showed off the red soles of her designer heels, it became clear this was not a slip-up. This was a deliberate refusal to take the evening seriously. While other presenters clutched cue cards like lifelines, Thompson treated the stage like a dinner party that had gone one drink too far. That is exactly why it worked. The audience laughed with her, not at her. In a room full of polished faces and rehearsed smiles, Emma Thompson reminded everyone that award shows are just fancy parties pretending to be sacred. Some called it unprofessional. Others called it refreshing. But one thing was undeniable. She proved that losing a little control can sometimes be the most controlled move of all. Number 5, Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts has spent decades being America's sweetheart, so when she stepped onto the red carpet for a live interview and immediately chose chaos, it hit different. Mid-chat, smiling wide and clearly feeling good, she casually dropped a line suggesting NBC was in the toilet. The smile froze. The interviewer panicked. And somewhere off camera, a PR team aged 10 years, 3 seconds. Roberts quickly tried to clarify, laughing and correcting herself, but the damage was already done. The moment wasn't cruel or aggressive. It was loose, a little too honest, a little too unfiltered. The kind of comment that slips out only when the champagne has been flowing and the red carpet starts feeling like a living room. Cameras caught everything because of course they did. What made the moment unforgettable was how unapologetic it felt. Julia didn't spiral, she didn't shut down. She laughed it off like someone who truly did not care if Hollywood approved. Some called it awkward, others called it iconic. And that leaves the real question. When a star stops rehearsing and starts being real, are we watching a mistake or the exact reason people fell in love with them in the first place? Number 6, Ricky Gervais. Some hosts sip water. Ricky Gervais sips alcohol and then chooses violence. By the time he took the stage at the Golden Globes, it was clear he was not there to behave, impress, or make friends. Drink in hand and smile locked in, he treated Hollywood's most prestigious room like an open mic night, where everyone in the front row deserved to be roasted. Jokes landed hard. Pauses lingered too long. And the tone felt just loose enough to make people wonder how many drinks deep he really was. Gervais mocked actors' studios and the entire concept of celebrity self-importance, all while casually reminding the audience that none of this actually mattered. Laughter mixed with visible discomfort, which only seemed to fuel him more. That was the magic and the menace. Was he drunk, or was he just saying what everyone was too sober to admit? Critics called it reckless. Fans called it honesty. And Hollywood kept inviting him back anyway. Because nothing boosts ratings like watching powerful people laugh while quietly hoping they are not next. Number 7, Jacqueline Bisset. Winning a Golden Globe is supposed to be a victory lap. For Jacqueline Bisset in 2014, it turned into a slow-motion free fall that no one could stop. As she stepped on stage to accept her award, emotion flooded in first, then confusion, then a speech that wandered like it had no GPS and no intention of finding one. She shifted from heartfelt gratitude to strange anecdotes, half-finished thoughts and lines that left the audience blinking in silence. Words collided, pauses stretched, applause cues vanished. At one point, it felt less like an acceptance speech and more like an unfiltered diary entry being read out loud to millions of people who did not ask for it. The longer she spoke, the more the room realized this was going somewhere unexpected. Eventually, someone had to gently guide her off stage. And yet that was the beauty and the chaos of it. There was no script, no polish, no performance mask. Some viewers cringed. Others found it refreshingly human. Years later, the clip still circulates because it forces an uncomfortable question. When someone finally stops performing for Hollywood, do we judge them for losing control or remember them for being real? Number 8, Mariah Carey. By the time Mariah Carey stepped up to accept her award, the diva energy was already dialed to maximum. Standing under the lights with director Lee Daniels nearby, she smiled, swayed slightly, and began speaking as if her thoughts were arriving half a second late. Words came out soft, stretched, and just a little slippery, like the champagne had beaten her to the microphone. Mid-speech, Mariah did what only Mariah could do. She acknowledged it. With a giggle and a half-finished sentence, she openly admitted she was a little out of it. The crowd laughed, unsure whether to applaud the honesty or brace for impact. This was not a meltdown. This was a superstar who knew exactly how she looked and chose to lean into it instead of fighting it. That choice made all the difference. Instead of panic, she radiated confidence. Instead of embarrassment, she turned the moment into a meme before the internet could. Critics rolled their eyes. Fans defended her instantly. And the question lingered long after the music faded. When you are Mariah Carey, do normal rules even apply? Or is being slightly unhinged part of the brand? Everyone secretly tunes in to see. Number 9, Katy Perry. At the 2015 American Music Awards, Katy Perry stepped on stage to present an award and instantly proved that confidence does not always equal control. Her smile was bright, her energy was high, and her focus was noticeably elsewhere. Lines were misread, timing drifted, and the effort to stay composed only made the moment more entertaining. She laughed through the slips, swayed just enough to raise eyebrows, and powered forward as if nothing unusual was happening. It felt like watching someone try to read cue cards while the party in their head was still going strong. The audience laughed with her, but also at the situation, because it was clear the champagne had arrived early and overstayed its welcome. What saved the moment was Katy herself. She never panicked. She never apologized. She treated the stumble like part of the show, not a mistake to be erased. Some called it sloppy. Others called it iconic. And that is the Katy Perry formula. When things go off script, she does not stop the performance. She turns the chaos into content and dares you not to enjoy it. Number 10, Lily Allen. Award shows are usually polished, polite, and painfully controlled. Lily Allen never got that memo. When she co-hosted an event alongside Elton John, it quickly became clear she was treating the night less like a formal ceremony and more like a very public after-party. Drinks flowed, filters disappeared, and the vibe shifted from scripted celebration to unpredictable chaos. As the night went on, Elton John openly joked about Lily's drinking right there on stage, teasing her in a way that made the audience laugh and wince at the same time. Lily fired back without missing a beat, brushing it off with the confidence of someone who genuinely did not care how it looked. It was awkward. It was funny. and it was just uncomfortable enough to feel real. Later, both of them insisted it was all in good fun. And maybe it was. But the moment stuck because it exposed something award shows try hard to hide. Not every star wants to play the polished game. Lily Allen showed up as herself, messy edges included. Some viewers called it unprofessional, others found it refreshing, and that leaves the lingering question. In a room full of perfect smiles, is the real scandal being too drunk or being too honest? Number 11, Tara Reid. By the time Tara Reid showed up at the 2005 MTV Movie Awards, subtlety was already off the table. Known for her party girl reputation, she did nothing to fight it that night. Cameras caught her laughing too hard, moving too loose and fully embracing the chaos, like the after-party had started hours early, and she was the host. On stage and off, Reid looked less like a nominee and more like someone who had mistaken the award show for a nightclub. Her energy bounced between carefree and concerning, and every cutaway shot felt like it might turn into the next viral moment. This was not a single slip or awkward sentence. It was a full vibe that screamed, "I am here to have fun and deal with the consequences later." The internet did not wait to decide how it felt. Headlines mocked her. Commentators questioned her professionalism, but Tara never really pushed back. She owned it. To her, award shows were not sacred ground. They were parties with better lighting. And that raises the question people still argue about today. When a celebrity leans into the image everyone expects, are they losing control or simply refusing to pretend they are someone else? Number 12. Paris Hilton. When Paris Hilton shows up to an award show, it is never just an appearance. It is an event. Champagne energy first, ceremony second. Over the years, Paris has been spotted laughing uncontrollably, swaying through red carpets, and treating prestigious nights like very expensive pre-games. And somehow, that has always felt completely on brand. There were moments when she seemed more interested in the party than the program. Missed cues, giggles at the wrong time, eyes glazed just enough to suggest the open bar was doing its job. Cameras loved it. Critics rolled their eyes. But Paris never looked embarrassed. She looked entertained. While others chased trophies, she chased the vibe and let the night unfold however it wanted to. That confidence is what made it stick. Paris Hilton never pretended award shows were sacred. To her, they were playgrounds for fame, fashion, and fun. Some called it shallow. Others called it iconic. But years later, she is still remembered, still talked about, and still winning in her own way. Paris was never out of control. She simply understood the game better than everyone else in the room. Number 13, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck didn't cause a scene at the 2023 Grammy Awards. He didn't slur, stumble, or grab a mic. Instead, he did something far more dangerous in the age of social media. He looked miserable. Sitting next to Jennifer Lopez, surrounded by flashing lights and screaming fans, Ben wore the expression of a man who would rather be anywhere else on Earth. Every camera cut felt intentional. While the crowd cheered, Ben stared into the middle distance like he was trapped in an endless award show purgatory. The internet noticed immediately. Memes exploded. Comment sections lit up. Was he drunk? Was he bored? Was he regretting his life choices in real time? His face became more talked about than the performances on stage. Later, Affleck addressed the moment with blunt honesty, admitting he had been drunk at award shows plenty of times before. The difference this time was visibility. This was not chaos fueled by alcohol. This was exhaustion on full display. and that is why it resonated. Ben Affleck didn't lose control that night. He simply stopped pretending that award shows are always fun, and in doing so accidentally became the most relatable person in the room. Number 14, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow has always mastered the art of looking composed, which is exactly why her post-Oscars behavior in 2019 caught people off guard. After the ceremony ended and the cameras loosened their grip, Gwyneth was spotted drink in hand, laughing freely, clearly enjoying herself, in a way that felt almost rebellious for someone so closely associated with elegance and control. What made the moment especially ironic was her long-standing reputation for criticizing public drunkenness. She had once described drunk behavior as embarrassing and degrading, yet there she was, visibly relaxed, unapologetically, celebrating, and very much part of the chaos she once distanced herself from. It was not sloppy or dramatic, it was human. And that contrast is what made people talk. Instead of denying it or spinning the narrative, Gwyneth leaned into the joy of the moment. She framed it as celebration, not excess. Work done, pressure off, night earned. And maybe that is the point. Even the most polished stars eventually drop the mask when the spotlight dims. Not because they lose control, but because no one can stay perfectly curated forever. Number 15, Megan Fox. Megan Fox has never been subtle, and the 2009 Teen Choice Awards were no exception. When she stepped on stage to accept her award, it was immediately clear that this was not going to be a clean, polished moment. Her movements were loose, her delivery unpredictable, and her confidence cranked up just enough to make people wonder if the champagne had been working overtime. She laughed at odd beats drifted off script and delivered lines with a tone that felt half playful, half unfiltered. The internet jumped in fast. Some called her drunk. Others said she was just being Megan Fox, leaning into the chaos instead of fighting it. The cameras loved every second, because nothing sells quite like a beautiful star refusing to behave exactly how she is supposed to. What made the moment stick was her complete lack of apology. Megan never tried to clean it up or pretend it did not happen. She owned it, joked about it later, and kept moving forward like it was never that serious to begin with. In a world obsessed with perfection, Megan Fox reminded everyone that sometimes the mess is the message. She was not trying to impress the room. She was reminding the room who she was. Number 16, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus never pretended award shows were sacred. At events like the 2014 MTV Video Music Awards, she showed up with zero interest in playing it safe. Her energy was loud, loose, and unapologetically chaotic. Hosting duties blurred into performance art as she bounced between jokes, strange comments, and an attitude that felt like a dare to the entire room to keep up. Nothing about it felt accidental. Miley leaned into the mess with a grin, treating the stage like her personal playground. While critics debated whether she was under the influence or just out of control, Miley looked perfectly comfortable breaking every unspoken rule of how a pop star was supposed to behave. Cameras stayed glued to her because unpredictability is magnetic, and Miley knew exactly how to use it. What makes those moments age differently is what came after. Years later, Miley stood on the Grammy stage in 2024, calmer, but no less confident, finally taking home her first wins for Flowers. The chaos had not disappeared. It had evolved. Miley Cyrus did not lose control at award shows. She outgrew the need to shock and proved she could command attention on her own terms, with or without the madness. Number 17, Cate Blanchett. Cate Blanchett is usually the definition of precision. Perfect posture, perfect diction, total control. which is exactly why her moment at the 2014 Golden Globes caught everyone off guard. When she accepted the award for Blue Jasmine, she casually admitted she had already had a few vodkas. No panic, no apology, just a calm confession delivered with a smile sharp enough to disarm the room. Her speech drifted in that uniquely Blanchett way, thoughtful but slightly loosened, elegant, yet unmistakably relaxed. This was not sloppy or chaotic. It was controlled looseness, the kind that makes you realize how thin the line is between polished and human. The audience laughed, partly because they were surprised, and partly because it felt oddly refreshing to hear honesty instead of rehearsed gratitude. The moment worked because it felt effortless, not forced. Cate Blanchett could afford to be a little off-script because her credibility was untouchable. She did not stumble into chaos. She stepped just close enough to remind everyone that even the most respected figures in the room are still enjoying the open bar. In a world obsessed with perfection, Blanchett proved that confidence is knowing exactly how much control you can afford to let go. Number 18, David Hasselhoff. When David Hasselhoff stepped onto the stage at the 2009 MTV Europe Music Awards in Berlin, it was clear he was not aiming for subtle. He burst out singing before the show even properly began, rode the music like a man reliving his greatest hits, and immediately took the night off script. The energy was loud, loose, and unmistakably Hoff. As the night went on, he drifted into rambling stories, joking about the Berlin Wall, and speaking German to a cheering crowd that seemed equal parts amused and confused. Was he tipsy? Absolutely. Did he care? Not even slightly. Instead of dialing it back, Hasselhoff leaned in harder, embracing the chaos with the confidence of someone who knows exactly how ridiculous his legacy already is. That is what made it work. David Hasselhoff has never pretended to be cool in a modern Hollywood sense. He thrives on excess nostalgia and unapologetic spectacle. Critics called it messy. Fans called it classic Hoff. And years later, that performance is still remembered because it perfectly captured who he is. Not a man losing control, but a man who stopped trying to contain it a long time ago. Number 19, Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers never needed alcohol to be dangerous, but it certainly didn't slow her down. At award shows, especially during her appearances overseas, she treated the stage less like a formal ceremony and more like a comedy battlefield. Drink in hand, she fired off jokes with zero hesitation, openly admitting she had no idea why she was invited and even less interest in behaving. Her delivery was sharp, fast, and sometimes just a little slurred, which only added fuel to the chaos. She roasted celebrities sitting feet away from her and laughed at her own punchlines, and dared anyone in the room to stop her. The audience bounced between shock and applause because once Joan started, there was no safe zone. Nothing was sacred. No one was off limits. Unlike the others, Joan Rivers was never caught off guard. She came fully loaded. This was never an accident or a slip. She knew exactly what she was doing. Joan used award shows as a stage to remind Hollywood that comedy does not ask permission. Whether people loved it or hated it, they watched. And that was always the point. Number 20. Jared Leto. By the time Jared Leto steps on stage at an award show, reality is already optional. Whether he is accepting an award or presenting one, there is always a sense that he has arrived from a slightly different dimension. Speeches stretch longer than expected. Topics drift into strange territory. And the audience slowly realizes this is no longer about the award at all. At events like the Golden Globes, Leto has delivered rambling monologues that bounce from gratitude to bizarre personal anecdotes, sometimes pausing just long enough to make people wonder if he forgot where he was. Was he tipsy? Possibly. Was he enjoying himself? Absolutely. The words may wander, but the confidence never does. He speaks like someone unconcerned with time limits, cue cards, or the collective anxiety of producers backstage. Jared Leto works as the perfect closer because he represents pure unpredictability. With him, the chaos is not clumsy or accidental. It is part performance, part mystery, and part deliberate refusal to be normal. Love him or roll your eyes, people always watch. And in the world of award shows, that is the only rule that truly matters. That truly matters. That truly matters. That truly matters.